and everything that I have is yours while you're with me. But this son of mine that was lost now has been found. And Jesus is saying all of these things while he's speaking to a group of religious leaders who have misunderstood what it is to be in need of God's grace. That they're not holy just because they dot the I's and cross the T's, not because they go to church, or not because they the things that they don't do and the things that they do, but they are made right with God on the basis of the gracious gift of God. And here's one of the things that I think might get us sideways when it comes to walking with Jesus, is that there are certain times in life where we want God not for God, but we want God for God's stuff. And what I mean by that is the older brother, it seems, never had a connection to the father's heart. He just wanted all the accoutrements of what it meant to be a son, of what it meant to be a part of the father's household, of what it meant to be this incredibly wealthy child, and he didn't actually want the father. And so sometimes I worry that our walk with God can be so focused on the blessings of God, on the things that God provides, on the things that God can do, on the doors that God can open, that when he doesn't open a door, when he doesn't make a way, when he doesn't do what we want him to, it says more about us than it says about God. It says that we wanted God's stuff more than we actually wanted God. And God is way more concerned with our connection, our intimacy, our relationship with him than he is anything that we do for him. And so there are a couple of different particular grounds that the sower goes out to sow. Some of those seeds, they went out on rocky ground and are the ones who receive the word with joy, excited about the gospel, but they had no root. They believed for a while, but in the time of testing, things got hard. Things became challenging, and for whatever reason, I just didn't stick around. The seed fell among thorns for those who hear, but as they go on their way, they're choked out by life's worries, by riches and pleasures, and they do not mature. There's a lot of stuff that we can want out of life. And there's a lot of places that we are told where the good life is found. And if you've been hanging out with us for any amount of time, you know that I talk about this all the time. But we're bombarded with stories of where the good life can be found. And so there's always going to be a story of the good life being found over here where our desires meet a certain specific aspect of what we wanted out of life. And we'll get all of those things just like the prodigal son got all of those things and realize this is not what I thought it was. This does not provide what I wanted it to provide. And so this is what I want to share with you. Going into 2026, let's not spend another year chasing the things that we find at the end of 2026 say, it just never satisfied, right? I for whatever reason, I always think of when I was young and I was in my teenage years. There's a Kanye West song, "Wait Till I Get My Money Right," and it's kind of just this idea, man. Oh, y'all wait, and when I get my money right, everything's gonna be set. And I think the reality is just that, like, we could get our money right. We might spend our lives perpetually trying to get to a specific arrival point or a specific destination or whatever the case may be. And it will still be saying something else. Wait till I get this right. Wait till I get that right, etc., etc., etc. And so why waste another year looking for satisfaction, looking for provision, looking for an arrival in another place when God is the only one who satisfies? And I say that not because I'm trying to correct somebody. I say that because it's the reality of you being made for God and God creating you for him. That's what satisfies. That's what resolves this tension that exists in our souls. And so there are a number of things that you're going to experience in 2026. There's going to be a lot of potential trips that you can take, and awesome experiences that you can have. There's going to be job promotions, and there's going to be job losses. There's going to be high highs and low lows, and there's going to be time to do all types of different things, to have and your habits are going to be challenged. Your schedules are going to be challenged. Your priorities are going to be challenged. And all of those things are going to distract. All of those things are going to redirect. All of those things are going to push you in a direction. And oftentimes that direction often is not toward God. And so as we start 2026, and I know that we have great desires of doing things a certain way. We have goals that we want to achieve. Maybe you want to be able to come to church and say, man, I got my stuff together and I got a smile on my face. And the reality of it, 2025 left you with some frowns. And you wanted to be able to come and say, man, things are going well, and they're not. And this is what I want you to hear. Church ain't for you to be able to come and say, hey, I'm doing well. It's a hospital for people who are sick. It's a place where we get healed. It's a place where other people carry our burdens. It's a place where when we're sad, we look over to this other person and experience encouragement, because you're like, you still believe this too. Despite what we may be going through, we're still singing these songs. We're still reminding ourselves of who God is, who we are, and what he's done for us, and who he wants to be in our lives. And so I'm reminded a book that I really enjoyed reading last year. It's called Atomic Habits. And essentially, one of the nuggets that I left with from that book is that in order to accomplish change in your life, you have to fall in love with the process. You can't fall in love with the goal. You have to fall in love with the process of accomplishing the goal. And so it requires discipline. It requires focused attention. It requires not just the mountaintop experience of you having a supernatural experience with God. And I pray you have so many of those in 2026. But sometimes the superpower is just in your own consistency, just in your own ability to show up when you don't feel like it, just in your own ability to pull up and say, God, I'm open to you. And so I want to encourage you, if there's just one thing, to not make some crazy goal of all the things that you're going to be and do in 2026, which I hope you be and do incredible things. But this is my prayer for you. And this is my clarion call that I hope you hear from the Holy Spirit. Fall in love with the process. Show up. Commit to discipline. Commit to the details of what it means to really have a walk with God that isn't predicated on your emotions. Emotions are a big part of what God uses in our lives. But sometimes our emotions can drive us to places that aren't helpful. Sometimes we can have high highs and low lows, and it throws us off of the process. And all I'm saying is that whether it's a high high or a low low, fall in love with the process. Show up to church. Raise your hands. Sing the songs. Worship God together. And then we'll be looking at 2027 going, man, I fell in love with the process. And look how far I have come. I'm not everything that I want to be, but I sure am not everything that I used to be. God bless you. Happy New Year. I hope to see you January 4th, 3223 West Franklin Boulevard. Peace.